Hi, have you ever wondered why your students are abandoning your course, or they're not finishing the lessons, or they are not carrying out all the activities that you included in the course for them to do? Well, if you thought so, you'll find the answers here today. My name is Max Quiroz from Max and Ruth Training, and today I want to share with you some strategies to make your online course more accessible to your students. And the first of these strategies has to do with the course navigation system. Sometimes when we go into an online course, when we enroll in an online course, we find a navigation system as complex and as difficult as what we're seeing here, like the cockpit of a jet aircraft. And when that happens, our students or participants find it difficult to move from one lesson to the other. Where are the resources they need to find the resources that they need in order to carry out the assignments? Where to find the assignments? Where to upload their homeworks or works or essays or whatever they need to do. If the navigation system is overly complicated, it's very complex, then that will make it difficult for them to interact with the program. And if they cannot interact with the program, it will be difficult for them to acquire the concepts and the contents and to process that information to create their knowledge. So the first strategy that you must take into consideration is to have a simple and easy to use navigation system. The second strategy has a lot to do with this, but it has to do with the language that you use in your course. Please use a clear and easy to understand language. Many course creators think that since their course is so important, so valuable, they need to include very difficult, complex, technical language. And when they do that, they are pushing their students away from their course, because most of the participants don't want this complex and very technical or scientific course. They need something they can relate to. They need something that it's easy for them to understand and to follow and to read. So please, I know you're very wise, I know you're very smart, but please use clear and easy to understand language when you are developing your course. One suggestion is that you give your course before it's published to somebody that is completely outside, a person completely outside of your developing team, or if you're the sole developer, somebody that doesn't know about your course, to see if that person can understand everything that you're trying to say, if they understand all the instructions, all the guidelines that you include in your course, and if they can navigate through the course without any problems. If they are able to do this, if they understand everything, they don't have any doubts, they navigate easily, then you have overcome the first two obstacles and you're implementing the first two strategies using an easy and simple navigation system and using clear and easy to understand language. The next strategy has to do with the process of acquiring or interacting with your online program. And we strongly suggest that you record a show how video. In this video, or a tutorial video, and you should include how to access the course, and then once they are inside the program or the course, where they must click, what steps they must take in order to start using the content that you've included for the course. And the easiest way to do this is using any screen recording software, be it web-based or computer-based, like Loom, Screencastify, Filmora, Cyberlink screen recorder, whatever system you decide to use. There's many options, but the one that it's best suited for you and the one with which you feel more comfortable, use that and record a video as if you were a student or participant, and show your students and participants how to access the course, and once they're inside, where to go, what sections are important, where they can find help, where they can find the resources that they will need, where they can find everything, so that it will be easy for them. Maybe you can even send them the video before they log in for the first time into your course, so they are prepared on how to interact with your program. That's another strategy that you must take into consideration. This strategy has to do with the content. How do you present content on your website or your program? And we strongly suggest that you use numbered sequences or bulleted lists, or however you want to organize. But the important thing here is that you're using separate elements in a logical sequence in which the participant must acquire those concepts or that content. This is because the human brain needs help processing information. And whenever we go into a new online course, we might be overwhelmed by all the information that is displayed, especially if it's a new system for us. So if we show the information, if we present the information in a logical, structured, and brief way, it will be easier for them to acquire the information and for their brains to process that information. And they need to process the information in order to acquire that knowledge. So it's important, make your content easy to consume, and your participants will learn a lot more than if it's very complex to consume. That's the strength and the kindness, and why it's very important to use these numbered sequences or lists. Another strategy has to do with learning to write like a marketer. I don't know if you have seen the web pages of opinion leaders or of great trainers, and you will see that most of the sites have blocks of content, then white spaces or empty spaces, and then another block of content. If you see a scientific website, most of the time you will see text, 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 and more text, and then some, maybe a graph, and then more text, text after text. It's very difficult for us to process text only. If we see a page or a screen full of text, we tend to disregard it. We tend to not read it. So we must learn how marketers write. Separate your content into small blocks and write a block, present a block, and then put a space between the next block, before the next block. And you'll have a block, empty space, and another block. And make sure each block of content is a discrete unit that should be processed by itself. And in that way, your students or participants will be able to process all information easier and more efficiently than if you just write a full page of text. That's the way to write like a marketer. Of course, a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's exactly why we must use visual elements. And science backs this up. I don't know if you are familiar with NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, but neuro-linguistic programming tells us that there are 5 different channels in which we acquire information from the world that surrounds us. But there are 5, but the 3 more important are a visual channel, the auditory channel, and a kinesthetic channel. And of those 3, the visual channel is by far the most important for the majority of human beings. We are visual beings. We acquire most of our information through our eyes, through vision. So it's very important that we use visual elements throughout our content, throughout our course. Make sure that you use those visual elements. Nowadays, there's plenty of sources, either free sources or very low-cost sources for visual elements. So there's no excuse for not using them. In order to process information, we acquire it through our eyes, and then our brain processes that information. But it's important. Visuals make a great difference. Please include visual elements so that your course is much more accessible to all your participants. And sometimes we are like that dog, what? And that's why we must include FAQs, frequently asked question sections. And the value of FAQs is immense. Why? Because most of the students, when they interact with our program, they have a sensory and information overload, and they are overwhelmed by all the new information that they must process. So it's normal that they have questions, that they have doubts. And since it's an online program, it's not very easy to ask the question as the teacher for clarification. So that's where FAQs come handy. You anticipate the most common and frequently asked questions, and you provide the answers for those questions. In that way, your students will find the answers to the most common questions. But what happens is if this is the first time you are delivering this course? Well, outsource and do a review of the most common frequently asked questions in other courses similar to yours. Then model those questions, and I said model, do not copy. Model those questions, rewrite them using your own language, and put them in your website. And while your students or participants are interacting with their program, there will be questions. Write those questions down and adjust your FAQ. So the next time you offer your program, you have your own valid and personal or proprietary FAQ with all your questions asked by your students or participants. And that's the value of FAQs. You can anticipate and provide help for all those students that have a question like that poor dog there in the picture. And finally, program reminders for all the activities that your participants must carry out while going through your program. Most systems, most course hosting systems like Kajabi, Thinkific, Hotmart, LearnDash, or LearnPress, whatever system you use, those are called LMS or Learning Management Systems. Most of them allow you to program reminders for the activities that the students must carry out. For example, when they have to turn in their SIAs, when they have to turn in their homeworks, when there's a new Zoom meeting, everything that's going to happen in your program. Program a reminder for them. Make a reminder and get it into the system so it will be sent to them. As a matter of fact, most of the systems allow you to link to your email system so that you can send them emails constantly reminding them of what they have to do in order to advance in your program. And that's one of the great strategies that you can use to make your online program more accessible. So those are the strategies that you can use, easy strategies that you can use to make your online course or program more accessible to your students. We hope that this video has been helpful for you and see you in the next one. Have a great day.